Is there anything I could say today that would change your mind?
I'm just asking your opinion.
I'm asking you a question.
All right, everybody, buckle up for this one. This is an astonishing, frustrating, disturbing clip. Now, admittedly, I haven't watched all of it. I've watched, chunks in the beginning, and I know we've got a couple of segments here that are going to be pretty mind-numbing, and just like I said, all of the above. We have Dr. Mike. So for those of you who don't know, Dr. Mike is an online, famous, viral doctor. He does, cute little videos about, different medical benefits and, commenting on videos and reacting to things online. He's a nice guy, generally, genuinely nice guy. He goes on Jubilee, and the topic is Dr. Mike surrounded by 20 anti-vaxxers. And as you can tell by the look in Dr. Mike's face, this is going absolutely horribly at this point. Having had the experience of having conversations with people that think like this, and I sort of lump some of these people into like the flat Earth sort of categories. I think there's a lot of overlap between, the deep conspiracy, like hollow Earth, flat Earth, anti-society, anti-vaccine, everything. Can't trust a word I hear from anybody, anywhere, anytime. Those people, it really rots, and it gives you an instant headache to have these conversations. So kudos to Dr. Mike for stepping in there. So his third claim here, RFK Jr. is a public health threat, is going to be debated. Let's see how it goes. Let's comment and do our best to hang on.
Claim is that RFK Jr. is a public health threat. Good to see you again, sir.
Yes, sir. So why do you think he is a threat?
I think when you're trying to put someone in a position of authority of a health agency, you want it to be a person who understands science and follows factual narratives.
So if RFK appeals to other experts that are anti-vax because they've seen sufficient evidence otherwise, would that be heretical as well?
I think that RFK's stances of why he's a public health threat go past the anti-vaccine stances. He's made public statements that HIV doesn't cause AIDS, that poppers, which is a party drug or a recreational drug that people use, is really the reason why AIDS exists. That is not someone who clearly understands science, and I don't want them in charge of a health agency.
Okay, assuming he does become head of the health department, wouldn't he now technically be considered the expert, not an expert, but the expert?
No.
So then, if he put something forth that was anti-vax, and he said we have sufficient evidence to prove this, and then other medical experts such as you, which are pro-vax, went against it, wouldn't now you be categorized as the wrong ones?
No, because it's not based
God.
on a single person's opinion.
It's like the logic is so mind-numbing. This guy is trying to purport. This guy is trying to claim that just because somebody happens to now be elected or placed into, XYZ position of power, that all of a sudden, boom, instantly, everything that they believe and they purport and that they've studied and that they've researched is now instantly the correct position, and anything outside of that is false, and that you're the heretic or whatever word he wants to use. Totally devoid of any sort of base in reality or any sort of factual study or anything. No, just because you're the person in power, now, boom, you're the one that is correct.
Consensus-driven statement? No, because it's not based on a single person's opinion. This is a consensus-driven statement driven by thousands of doctors, dozens of agencies, not just here in the United States, but worldwide as well.
Okay, do you allow your patients to write bad reviews about you if they had a bad experience?
It's not my choice to write it.
Irrelevant. I mean, what the fuck? What?
Or not write it.
No, do you allow them? Or would you remove it?
No.
No what?
I would not remove it.
Okay. So if we look at Facebook, Google, YouTube, they suppressed so many anti-vax posts.
Hold on a second. Facebook and other social media platforms banned anti-vaccine advertisements and removed posts related to what the platform considered misinformation during the height of the pandemic. I remember that. I remember that being newsworthy when Facebook did that. Yeah, that's a bit, Facebook has overreached, I would say, with a lot of its with sort of censoring on both sides, on the right and on the left. That's a fair point.
Legitimate declarations of they were injured, serious deaths. ABC News went on Facebook and they posted a simple question: who do you know or yourself that was seriously injured from the vaccine? Over 200,000 comments that were then removed by Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg just went on Joe Rogan and he said that Joe Biden, the Biden administration, forced them to censor people. So if someone really believes in their product, why would they do mass censorship to hide it?
I'm a family medicine doctor. I have no idea why they're censoring certain websites or not censoring certain websites. So like, that's outside of my scope.
Well, that's outside of your scope, but just using logic, just using reasoning. You said you would not remove your patients as bad reviews, so why would we allow these experts to then remove them, those kind of
First of all, total non sequitur. One has nothing to do with the other. Whether Dr. Mike is removing, reviews of his patients. The logical machine in this guy's brain is made of like a potato chip and a freaking like rotten pickle. It's like nothing has to make sense with regards to the other thing. He's just saying a bunch of like shit.
critics?
Last that I checked, no doctor removes patient bad reviews. No doctor goes on and hides comments. I mean, maybe they do it on an individual level, but not on a systemic level.
Okay. I would just say that RFK Jr. Does appeal to other experts that even if they're vaccine skeptics, they put forth legitimate studies that would be antithetical to the pro-vaccine studies. So you said earlier, like misinformation. I would ask, who is the author of misinformation?
What?
Who is the author of misinformation?
Yeah, so misinformation, first off, is predicated on the fact that there's right information. Right information is going to be predicated on the fact that there's absolute truth. Does science state absolute truth?
There's no absolute truth, period.
Right. No such thing as absolute
In fact,
truth. Science doesn't aim for absolute truth. Science aims for as close to true, as close to correct as we can possibly get. And when it comes to the data, and I don't know if Dr. Mike's going to point this out, when it comes to any sort of scientific study or process or scientific question, you do an ample amount of, you collect an ample amount of data, you run tests, you run studies, you repeat, and you try to find a consensus as to what's the best possible answer here. And that's the conclusion we've come to with the reduction in disease, infectious disease spreading and mortality from with regards to vaccine effectiveness. So there's no absolute truth anywhere. So again, question that doesn't help move the conversation forward at all. And let's see what Dr. Mike has to say.
Truth. Does science state absolute truth?
There's no absolute truth, period.
Right.
In fact, there's a great book that I recommend everyone to check out. It's called The Half-Life of Facts, to see how what we consider now a fact, how quickly it could change. And in science, what I consider someone who would be a good fit and not a public health threat to lead the agency is someone who's aware that facts can expire, they can change, they can adapt, but they have sound logic as to why they make those decisions, and they don't make statements carelessly with bad information, knowingly bad information.
So if truth is provisional, this means that science, that right now you can be pro-vax, and next year when you see sufficient evidence, you can be anti-vax, correct?
You could.
Is provisional.
Okay, perfect. So
God, I hate these guys' arguments so
if
much.
there's no absolute truth within this realm, I don't know why we should completely rule out RFK Jr. and the other experts that he could appeal to.
Because they've done the studies. Because they've done shit. They've done the studies, you guy. What the fuck?
The reason I rule him out is because he takes information that is not true, like that poppers cause AIDS.
Subjectively true.
It's not subjectively true.
For the time being, because you just said it's provisional truth, meaning it can change with time.
No, but if it's been proven, oh my God. It's not like you do one of these scientific studies over generations with thousands of data points, and then all of a sudden, like one day, you're just going to it's just going to completely flip on a dime, and you're going to start seeing a totally different trend. It's not how it works.
Right, but you can create any sort of statement, and in healthcare, we can't just go off of any statement because someone feels subjectively to be true. We have to do our best to do with limited information that we can. That doesn't mean we have zero information, we should just believe anyone. In fact, have you seen these podcast hosts who have protocols by which they sleep, eat, or Gary Brecka or otherwise? The reason why I don't subscribe to their protocols is because anyone can make a claim about anything, just like RFK does with these statements. until someone backs up these claims with good substantial evidence, and there is a hierarchy of what good substantial evidence is, we won't believe those stats. The same way that if you sat across from me right now and told me you're the fastest human on earth at 100 meters, you might be telling the truth. Provisionally, subjectively, it might be true. The only way I'll know it's true is if we have an Olympic timekeeper with an Olympic device measured with the proper measuring tape. Then I can witness it, and then I can see it's true.
Okay, pause. Sorry, you've been voted out by the majority.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Lord. He makes my brain melt. Holy shit. Here we go.
Hello again.
Hello again. I would like to start by saying that HIV does not cause AIDS. AIDS is actually brought on when your white cell count goes below 200.
Oh, God.
So to
You cannot get AIDS if you are not infected with HIV.
say that HIV causes AIDS is inaccurate information. Actually, when your blood cell count goes below
It's like you already disqualified yourself from the first like 7 words that you spoke. Why should we even go on with the conversation?
200. I do agree some things he say is skeptical, such as climate change is real when we know that there's weather manipulation weapons and patents. However, majority of what he says about vaccines is true. When there's so many, have you heard of the military doctor Teresa Long?
No.
She said that spontaneous abortion went up 300% in the military after they mandated the vaccines. There's been several doctors that have came out and spoke of the adverse reactions. So how is it that vaccines...
Again, the argument that they always go to is, well, I heard one person said this. That's at one point in time. Okay. Where's the data?
Skeptics are the villains when some of the top doctors, some of the doctors that help create PCR tests, some of the doctors that have worked on vaccines have came out and said they're unsafe and we should not give this to our family and friends. How is it that he's a villain? How are we a villain if some of these vaccine creators and scientists are the ones saying we should not get it?
Is there anything I could say today that would change your mind?
I'm just asking your opinion.
I'm asking you a question.
Probably not, because I actually read and study.
Well, if I can't change...
Clearly, she doesn't know that. Nothing she said in the last minute has been anywhere close to the truth.
Change your mind.
I just want to know your opinion.
Yeah, so I would like to give you my knowledge, my experience, and what I've seen in the hospital system. But if you're telling me right now, no matter what I say, you're not going to change your mind, is there any value to that?
Well, I like to study everybody's opinion. I don't like to just say, I believe this and not further investigate everybody else's opinion. But
Isn't that the irony of it? It's like the people that claim that they're the most open-minded, I'm studying everything, I'm reading everything. Really, you're reading everything within your bubble. Everything that makes sense that you like within your bubble that makes you feel comfy, wumpy. And anything that's outside of that, contrary to that, instantly wrong, instantly debunked. That's the conspiracy, doctors, the globalists or whatever, trying to manipulate me. Any of that, instantly discredited. Not going to listen to you. Never going to change my mind. Anything within that, as kooky and as insane as it might be, shut it off. I'm going 100% with this. No problem.
Studies show the unvaccinated are actually healthier and the vaccinated are the ones that are getting COVID and dying and getting heart problems, and over 100-something athletes.
Of course, well, there are several reports of cardiac events and death, even among adolescents. CDC investigated the association, found no data to support a link with the COVID-19 vaccine. Yeah.
That got the vaccine, got heart problems after being perfectly healthy. I think it's unsafe and actually more so villain-like to say it's so safe and call people that are anti-vaxxers skeptics when over 100 athletes that are perfectly healthy are injured. Over who knows how many in the military cannot have kids or have had a spontaneous abortion or everything because of this. So I feel like it's an unfair statement to say he's a villain or he's unsafe, but then continue to say you believe the vaccines are safe and effective when millions have died or suffered from adverse reactions. So I'm just trying to understand your perspective.
Yeah, my perspective is, if you, like the American Medical Association put out that over 90% of doctors got vaccinated. There's no epidemic of doctors having negative outcomes, dying at alarming rates.
There's saline shots as well. There was a doctor in Australia that came forth and said that at least 10% of the vaccines that were going out were saline shots. And this has been proven by an Australian doctor that...
Wait a second. Hold on a second. What
That
is she
some of
saying?
the shots were saline.
In 2021, medical clinic in Melbourne, Australia, apologized to 30 patients who came in to receive Pfizer vaccine. Within 130 minutes, saying some of them may have received a saline injection by mistake. There's no evidence to suggest 10% of vaccines. Yeah.
Shots. And this has been proven by an Australian doctor that some of the shots that were going out were saline shots. So how are we to say that some of these doctors didn't know ahead of time of Agenda 21 and got the saline
boy.
shot?
Basis conspiracy theories resurfaced during the pandemic about Agenda 21, claiming 92 documents signed by 170 nations following a UN conference meant to establish a new world order.
It's kind of impossible.
How do you live like this? How do these people live? Like, you're just living in a constant state of like manic conspiracy. Like, you think the whole world, it's like a state of acute schizophrenia, isn't it? Like, I'm not a psychiatrist, but that's what it seems like.
To say.
Sorry, you've been voted out by the majority.
Thank you.
We're not going to stick around for more of that. There you have Dr. Mike absolutely battening down the hatches, holding strong, keeping a straight face in the face of absolute lunacy in some cases. I understand these are genuine people. I understand that they're exploring some side of Lord knows what. It's certainly nothing intellectual. But kudos to Dr. Mike for his patience. I would not have been able to do the same. I don't think, I think he could have been a little bit more aggressive. I would have liked him to push back a little more in the face of some of this stuff, but I understand he has an image to keep up, and he's just sort of getting in there and getting out and trying to do a good job, as he says. We can appreciate that. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about that whole conversation, these people, their opinions, one way or another. I know I'm being a little bit harsh, but I do think it's important to be accurate and to follow scientific consensus and truths when they are clear and plain as day. So I'll leave it at that. See you guys in the next one. Drop a like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day.